Good morning, everyone. I don't have any announcements today, but I got a couple things I was thinking about. In the Old Testament, we often read, and you see still today in some of the really Orthodox Jews, uh, there, there, were, there were things that the Jewish people did um, to remind them to be faithful. Uh, One of the things they did is that the men who had hair, obviously, let their hair grow, and they would have long curls that dangled by the side of their head. And another thing they did is they would have tassels somewhere on their clothing, sometimes on the bottom, on the hem of their robe, and sometimes up nearby their their upper body. And they, for special occasions, they would even have um, little boxes that they would tie to their head or to their wrists. And we all know the story about Passover when they painted blood around their doorposts. Of course, they didn't do that all the time, but they would put symbols on their doorposts so that every day as they came in and went, they would see those symbols. And all of those things were ways that they reminded themselves of the covenant that they had with God. They used those things to remind themselves of their relationship with God and, and to remind them to be faithful. And I got to thinking, what if, as annoying as they are, these masks that we are compelled to wear for the moment, what if we used those to do the same thing that we read about in the scriptures? What if we wore the masks and reminded ourselves to be faithful? There's so many ways that could work. Um, Whenever we could obviously get masks that have scriptures on them. Sure, we could do that. Or we could write things on them to remind us to be faithful. Or we could just think about what those masks mean as we remember to care for our brothers. We are our brother's keeper. How much do I love my neighbor? Do I love my neighbor as much as I love myself? Um, and maybe even a thought about compassion. Um, Maybe a thought about ego. A thought about, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Humility. Am I humble enough to listen to people who know more than I do? We seem to see that a lot in a lot of different subjects right now. People are so convinced that they're right that they refuse to listen to experts in physics, in medicine, and all sorts of things. How about whenever you put on a mask, we remember, we use the mask to remind ourselves. As much as I was never fond of the phrase, what would Jesus do? It's not a bad thing. What about what if every time we put on a mask, we use the mask to remind us to be more like Jesus? We should be doing that every day. But maybe we could just use the masks for some, as annoying as they are, we could use those masks for something good. So every day this week, every time you put your mask on and take your mask off and put your mask in your pocket and hang your mask in the rearview mirror of your car, or every time you have to handle that stupid thing, and remind yourself, am I acting like Jesus? Have a great week, everybody.